a lot of potential targets, since he's come to the football club. He missed out on a lot of targets during the summer. And potentially, that team, Mourinho spent what, 700 million pound, over 400 million pound on that team. All in all, since Ferguson retired, we spent 800 million pound on players, as we all currently know, and potentially the players for me are not playing for Mourinho. Potentially for me, we need to recommend the change. It's either we get a manager and recommend a new manager in, that suits the strappings of the club and addresses the problems and gets Manchester United playing the way they should be playing, or we keep Mourinho, back the board, back him in January, and see who we can potentially get into the football club, as I currently said. But it's the question is, he just said it wasn't the manager though. Gary Neville said Manchester United need a total reset. It's the players as well who are potentially not playing right for this football club. We're not playing in the way that Manchester United should be playing in, as we all know. And I think potentially for me, we need to rebuild our squad. Potentially, there's players that need to go. There's players that we need players to come in as well, and we need a new manager to address the problems. I can no longer back Jose Mourinho. He's potentially, he's said quite a few things. He actually still believes we can finish in the top four, according to Mourinho. He still thinks we can finish in the top four, according to him. We're 11 points behind top four. We're 19 points behind top. We are actually closer to relegation than we are top of the league. This is how bad it's got now, as we all currently know. And it was back in 2015, this date today, that he was actually sacked by Chelsea, Jose Mourinho, as we all currently know. But a lot of United fans want him out now. As I said, reportedly he's going to get hundreds of millions of pounds spent in January. I couldn't trust Jose Mourinho with his money, as I said. But yeah, isn't good enough for Manchester United. I know he won 2 trophies in his first season, but since then hasn't won out. And I just think his clues, his team selections are wrong, his tactics are wrong. Obviously now didn't play Paul Pogba yesterday in the Liverpool game, So the question is, who will be out? Will it be Pogba out first, or will it be Mourinho out first? Well, I think the board have got to react now. I think Ed Woodward's got to react now and get Jose Mourinho out of this club as soon as possible, because yesterday didn't turn up at all. Very, very bad performance. I did fear the worst because Liverpool are in really, really good form. Mourinho did speak about that. They're very, very fast. They're quick. They've got great, great players. Mourinho did say Manchester United are lacking physicality. As he said, Liverpool, you can't compare their physicality and intensity. But he said Man United were lacking physicality, and he did mention about Manchester United having several injury-prone players as well. And he mentioned quite a few stuff to Jose Mourinho. He said we lack physicality. Di Mourinho, he said my players gave everything. He said he was happy with his players, but said we lacked physicality. He said we couldn't cope with Liverpool's physicality, especially in the first 20 minutes. Jose Mourinho said as well. But you can tell how frustrated he is with a lack of transfer activity, Jose Mourinho. But Liverpool, we was going to feel the worst because they're a great, great side this season. I know they've invested in the last couple of seasons of Liverpool. Klopp's a really, really good manager. They've got a good manager, good fan, good players out on that pitch, and they've got huge talented players on that pitch. But Klopp's in a different generation to Jose Mourinho. Great, great manager. Liverpool, he admitted Liverpool are a better team than us this season. The Jose Mourinho, and they were on another level to us yesterday. They had 36 shots in the game. We had 6. It could have been a lot more than 3-1 yesterday. Van played well for them. Shaqiri, he made the impact when he came on, won Liverpool the game. Naby Keita played well for them when he was on. Fabinho played well. Firmino played well. Mane played well. And defensively, we have got huge, huge problems in that Manchester United team, as we all currently know. Man United didn't show any composure yesterday. Can't create an attack. Can't create any clinical chances whatsoever, and we're too slow on the ball. We couldn't, especially in the first 20 minutes, we couldn't pass 2 or 3 passes together. As we all know, we've had a lot of injury problems this season, but that is not an excuse, Bill, because these performances are just literally not good enough this season. We're sitting 6th in the table. Our goal only came, because of a mistake from the Liverpool goalkeeper, Mallington, as we all currently know, and it's potentially not good enough. I think, Manchester United have got to think about it's either we get this team out, get a complete clear out, and back Mourinho in January or whatever, or we recommend a new manager to come in, address the problems, get Manchester United back up there competing, for major honours, and up there competing as we should be, because Mourinho is lowering the expectations of this club. This has got to be one of the worst seasons I've witnessed as a Manchester United fan for years and years and years. This is worse than the Louis van Gaal era. This is even worse than the David Moyes era, in my opinion, as we all know. But yeah, Liverpool are now top by 19 points. They've got a great manager. They've got great players. He's invested quite a bit of money into that team. He's had a good pedigree with Borussia Dortmund, as we all know, as Jurgen Klopp. And he's got Liverpool playing the football that they want to play. But Manchester United, Mourinho's style of play isn't good enough. His managerial style at the whole club isn't good enough. And I think the club's too big for him, because obviously when he came into the club, he's, considering the history, I credit him what he's done in the past. He's won a lot of silverware and he's won a lot of titles, but as Jose Mourinho. But my opinion is he's not doing it at Manchester United, and his level was basically to potentially get us back competing and winning major honours. And he hasn't met that expectation level as Jose Mourinho. But what I don't get is he didn't get the potential. The board didn't back him during the summer. He didn't get the centre halves that he wanted to get in. So they withdrew from them signings, but they gave him the new contract, which is what I don't understand. Reportedly, Mourinho is unsure about the transfer funds for the January window. He's not sure what money will be available, but I say get him out of this club as soon as possible. So somehow we're on the line. We've got to get a new manager in, who's highly experienced. Obviously, we need a new recommend a new manager in who could, maybe take us forward for the next 3 or 4 years and get us back to the way we should be. As I said. But as Gary Neville was saying, it's going to cost the club a lot of money to sack Jose Mourinho. But he said Manchester United need a total reset. There's no leadership in the team, and there's just nothing, lacking goals. We've conceded 29 goals this season. That's the most. That's more goals we conceded more than the whole. That's more goals we conceded more than the whole of last season. All season, I think, last season as well. And I think, he spent just over £400 million at the club, as we all know. Got the correct philosophy at the club, as we all currently know, as Jose Mourinho, and he hasn't had great relationships with the players since he's been here. Especially the top players. Since he slated Paul Pogba down by calling him a virus. He hasn't played Paul Pogba as Jose Mourinho. He has not played Paul Pogba from the start. He was currently benched. He was benched yesterday. Mourinho had no consideration, or he didn't consider at all in playing Paul Pogba or taking him off the bench. Mourinho obviously during most parts of the game, he had Mata on the bench, he had Pogba on the bench, and he had Anthony Martial on the bench. Obviously, we missed the 2 previous games before Liverpool, but he did come on yesterday, as we all know. But for me, the players are not playing to the potential level. The players are not playing for Mourinho. I think Martial and Rashford have only been the 2 good outfield players this season who have really played quite good, but De Gea has been potentially the best, as we all know. But the structure of the team isn't right. Mourinho's destroying the team tactically wrong, and I think it's time to recommend a change. So can we get the manager we want for the next 3 or 4 years to change things around at this football club? Because you can't back Mourinho anymore. It's getting worse and worse and worse. We're in an absolutely terrible position. What are we now? We're in mid-December and we're sitting 19 points behind top. We're 11 points from top 4. Mourinho still believes we can get in the top 4. He says we've got to try and look for 5th and then later on get in the top 4. This is all what Mourinho said. And before the Liverpool clash, he classified Liverpool as the lucky ones as well. And we know Manchester United, these players that are going to go. Man United are considering selling Pogba in January. You've got players coming to the end of the contracts as well. Valencia wants to go reportedly. Bailly is now out of favour at the club, even though he did start yesterday. Well, it looked like obviously Smalling was going to start, but he didn't. So Bailly had took his place. But for me, there's got to be a change at the football club, as we all know. And yeah, that's all you can say. And there's nothing much more really to say on the subject. We're still historically a big, massive club. You know, we've got a big, massive fan base. You know, they're the most successful club historically in English football, as we all know. And this team is just not a replica of what team Alex Ferguson had. As you could tell, Alex Ferguson in the stands, you know, was absolutely furious yesterday. You could tell, look at him. You know, Ed Woodward was there as well, and I think Ed Woodward needs to get Jose Mourinho out of his club as soon as possible. And it's just not good enough, and they're not playing to potential level. They're not gelling together the team properly. On paper, it is a good team, and that team has got enough quality to at least finish in the top four. You know, the amount of money that has been spent on that team. No team fears us anymore. You know, there's no longer that fear factor here as there was under Alex Ferguson. You know, no team fears coming to Old Trafford anymore. And we're just easy to play against. We're an absolute shambles, absolutely shambolic. We can't defend. We haven't got a central midfielder, you know, that can play a pass. And we struggle to create clinical chances, as we all currently know. But we haven't been aggressive enough in these transfer windows, especially since Mourinho's gone. We haven't been getting his number one targets. This was when first Mourinho got appointed. We have been getting his number one targets that we want. We've been getting as like a second, first, third choice targets. As I said, during the course of last summer, it was disappointing. We only got 3 players in. You know, we only got 3 players in, as I said, and Mourinho missed out on a central defender. We need a prolific goal scorer as well, because we've got a lot of players that are too slow. The lethargic, you know, Lukaku's too slow. Big game bottler, first touch awful. You know, you've got Matic too slow in that midfield. Most of the time yesterday, the amount of touches he had, he was playing it backwards. Too slow in the midfield, Matic. You know, Fellaini, Mourinho bought Fellaini, and I couldn't understand him bringing Marion Fellaini on for Doylett. Doylett's 19, upcoming future player. And he did well against Fulham, but I don't understand why he bought Fellaini on. Fellaini too slow in the midfield. You know, we've got quite a few slow players in that team, but they're just not linking up. We're not creating any clinical chances. And yesterday we had no balls to go forward whatsoever, and the build-up play was awful. You know, we couldn't string 2 or 3 passes together, you know, especially in the first 20 minutes or so. And Liverpool had 36 shots on goal. You know, Klein played well for them yesterday as well, making his first Premier League appearance for them this season. Darmian, obviously, for us, you know, that was his first away game, you know, he featured in this season because he's had injury problems as well. You know, it would be good to actually see Victor Lindelof back, you know, because he's missed quite a lot of games, you know, due to injury that he had. So he came back into the squad, which was good to see, because he's dramatically played okay for us, you know, parts this season, you know, before his injury and that. But this team is not playing to the potential level as we all currently know. And we could see players go out. We need to recommend a change at the club. Whatever's going to happen from now, I do not know. Whether they give Mourinho the money in January, and the board, and somehow we give him chance to get backed, to see what signings he can get in January, and just see what happens. But I think we need to recommend a new man in to address the problems, you know, to change the whole style of play at the club, and see what players are right to keep and what players aren't right to keep. This is what the new manager needs to come in with: what players are right to keep and what players aren't right to keep, and get Manchester United playing the way, you know, that would currently should be playing as well, because there is a lot of players coming to the end of the deals at this football club. You've got Martial. There's been no signs of him signing a new contract, and he's potentially been our best outfield player during the course of this season. You've got Juan Mata. There's been no sign of him signing a new deal. He hasn't been a regular starter from the start this season, as we all know. Ashley Young as well. Valencia could be going in January. Bailly out of favour. I know Smalley's just signed a new deal. So it's just not good enough. Alright guys, I'm back, sorry about that. But yeah, we need to recommend a new man to come into the club who's got that killer instinct, and that can change this club around as well. That's what we've got to do, and there's nothing much more to say on the subject really. Got to get this man out of this job as soon as possible. But yeah, as I said, Gary Neville had a say on it. Alan Shearer had a say on it yesterday on Match of the Day. Shearer said they're not playing to potential Neville level. Gary Neville said potentially he thinks he will be sacked soon. He potentially discussed that he wasn't backed during the course of last summer. The board wasn't backing him. They withdrew from the signings that he wanted, and he's been discussing about this. Mourinho's frustration about the lack of signings in the team, and potentially discussed that. They gave him the contract, did the board, but they withdrew from the signings that he currently wanted. So it's either we'll wait till January and back him to see who we can get in the January transfer window. I wouldn't trust him with his supposed £100 million he's getting. Or I'd just basically sack him, get a new man in, get a clear out of the club, and get a new man in to address the problems at the club, and potentially we're in a really, really bad position, as we all currently know. We know Mourinho's got a lot of players on his target for the January transfer window, of course, but regardless of who we get in, I just think there needs to be a change at the club. Gary Neville speaking about, can we get the right man in for the next 3 or 4 years to take this club, where the club basically should be, because we're not in a commanding position that we should be, and we need a manager who's got the winning mentality, and he's got, and he can that he can come as in that position, that we should be in, because obviously the players are not playing for the manager. The manager just it doesn't suit the strappings of the club at all, and I just can't understand Jose Mourinho anymore. Just can't potentially get my head round him, as I said. But soon the Champions League draw is coming up, so after that we will be doing a video on that when the Champions League draw is done, to be honest with you. But Mourinho did, he said, we're lacking intensity, we're lacking physicality in the team. He mentioned about several injury-prone players as well, did Mourinho. He said Liverpool were fast. He said they've got great players and they're a strong team. He said Man United couldn't cope with their intensity and physicality. As he said, he was talking about Liverpool's physicality and energy, that they're used in the game. He said Manchester United couldn't cope with that. They were causing us a lot of problems at the back, as Jose Mourinho currently said. But yeah, and it also said, basically saying Gary Neville thinks he will be sacked soon, if it does carry on. But do you think Jose Mourinho will see out until the end of the season, at the football club? Reportedly, it did say it will cost us less to sack Mourinho if we wait till the end of the season and we don't get top 4. Obviously, we're not going to get top 4 now because we're a million miles away. And Alan Shearer's perspective, he actually thinks, to Manchester United, get the players they need and, potentially get the right man in, potentially. Then he doesn't, believe that Manchester United are going to be competitive, as I said. And it also basically said Mourinho is frustrated with the lack of transfer activity. He said we're lacking physicality in the team. He said he was still happy with his players, but they're lacking physicality. This is what Jose Mourinho currently said. But Neville had to say, he said basically he didn't get the signings he wanted. The board didn't back him during the course of the summer, gave him the contract, but he said we're Manchester United. He says we are Manchester United, and there's no leadership in that team. He says there's an incredible level of naivety. This is what Gary Neville had said on Sky Sports as well. But yeah, I couldn't remember everything he said, but there were that's what bits of what Gary Neville said regarding the situation at the football club. And potentially he said it's not just the play. He said it's not just the manager. He said also Gary Neville also said Man United need a reset as well. This is what Gary Neville had said. So anyway, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. We need to recommend a new man to come in, whether it be Pochettino, whether it be Zinedine Zidane, the managers we have been linked with to replace Mourinho. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. I'll see you all again very, very soon.